نبل كلنا نسلامنا نبل كلنا نحكن قوامنا يعكل نبل كلنا ونعبيتنا
وحدان مزناموني تن بروجرام كمي خمز مسلا بينا ينالنا بزي قرب دونغينا جميرنا لنا مزهونه غندحان بتعمل صبوينا زلنا سلازي مجمريا بشانتين كنجمرينا مالتيو شانت زغبرو سبات አለውና نعاتهم نبلهم مسوم كادمصنا نسمع مالتيو امنغو ግን ያው ጽሑፋት አለና ነቲ ጽሑፋት ክነንብብ ክንፍትኒና በብጽዋዕናዮም እንዳመጹ እቲ ጽሑፋት ከንብብልና ማለትዮም ግን ሰዓት 12 ግን ሓንቲታ አዳይ ዝኾነት ሌተር ክትንበበልና እታ ትንበብ ሌተር ካን አውስትራሊያን ገቨርንመንት ብልያ ማለትዩ ንሳ ታጽሐፍናያ ንሳ ክትንበበልና
طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نرحب بكل الوفود الإريترية من مدينة بيرث سيدني بريسبن أديلايد ملبورن بدينا متأخرين نعتذر عن التأخير الذي حدث البرنامج مكتوب موزع حنحاول نلتزم بالبرنامج عندنا فقرة مهمة الساعة 12 حنتلو الخطاب اللي وجهناه للحكومة الأسترالية إن شاء الله نذكر سماعات نحدد دقيقة صوت كنبلينا اوكي نذكر سماعات صوت بل عرفتي
هجمبار شانتين كنجمرينا اللونا
ياكل ملكي ياكل مشيطة إرتراويان ياكل مشيطة إرتراويان قوام يغم
كفى للدكتاتورية كفى للدكتاتورية كفى للاعتقال نعم للدستور نعم للديمقراطية نعم لحقوق الإنسان
We say enough to dictatorship, enough of our people suffering, enough of our people being enslaved, enough of this dictatorship, enough
رايم بار نقصل موني جيم بار انتينا كنقبر مالتيو زتصحفا صحفات ኣለዋ هجي تحنت انتيا نمنتاي ادلي ابزا معلت زيا ات ديمونستريشن نزبل مالتيو كاب ويسترن استراليا امان محمد كنببلنايو بتግርኛ مالتيو بدحريخا عبد الرزاق اسمانكا بعرب كنببلنايو
سلام قاعد حن متصاخم مجمريا نقع خمزيلنا خنتاخاخبن كنرى نابقعنا باركس ابز خبر علات زي نزي مجلس زي خرب مبكعين نزم ابز زبصحكمنا بمولوخم قديمه خمسكنكم فوتو بمقصال لومي 24 غنبوت 2019 وصيت ناي سناوي مرير حزباو قالسنا نعوز تخفله خبر حربنياوي مسواتي دك حزبن زترخبه بمخانو كاب كلن هاجراو بعلات إيرترا فلوي سفرا زلوا تاريخاوي علتها 24 غنبوت نتي بعلما وديت فتحاوي حطو ناصرነት حزب إيرترا غوسيوم سرديلت حزب إيرترا بفدريشن كتقرن زغبرو كلهم غزاتنا عالم رأس حيالان وديتاتهم زسعارتلان حزب إيرترا دما داغم كبرو من بركه كمزي كال زرغاغصتن تاريخاوي علتها زخبركمن زخبركنن ازي ناصرነት ازي بمسواتين قالسن حزبنا استرخبه ناصرነት انبر بهقدف زترخبه ايكونن سلازي دما ازي بعالزي ناي حزبታት ኤርትራ ሃገራዊ በዓል እንበር ናይ ህግደፍ ጉጅላዊ በዓል አይኮነን ክኸውንውን አይክእልን ካብ ዝሓለፈ ዓመት 2018 ንነጀው ድሕሪ ስምምዕ ሰላም ኢትዮ ኤርትራ ብጋህዲ ህግደፍ መን ምዃኑ ጉልባቡ ተቃሊዑ ኢሳያስ ስማው ድብ ህግደፍ ፀረ ህዝቢ ፀረ ዘኽብርት ዕለት 24 ግንቦት ምዃኑ ተቃሊዑ ሎላውነት ህዝቢ ጨፍሊቑ ኣብ ሎላውነት መሬት ይሕባእ ነይሩ ድሕነትን ክብረትን ወድሰብ ክንዲ ዝብል ኣብ ድሕነት ክብረት መሬት ክሕባእ ፀኒሑ ብዙሕ ድማ ኣደናጊሩ ዝኸበርኩም ተሳተፍቲ ህግደፍ መን እዩ እንታይ ዕላምኡ መሰረታዊ ሕቶ ዝለዓል ኮይኑ ህዝቢ ኤርትራ ድማ እንታይ ዝገብር ዘሎ እዚ ሃገር ናበይ ወስዳ ዘሎ مبردو نعداقا يوردا يلن إذا كل أشحات جيغانو كفيلنا نابي إيو داي بلي يلن لومي بدرجة أستراليا نزا خبرتي علت أبزي ترخيبنا كنذكران كنبعلان بتحدى شنخ نزا خبرت علت إذا بخبيد وقا تقالاساي حزبنا زترخبت ناصرነት ክብሪ ክንገልጽን ነቲ خبور መስዋዕቲ ዝተረኽበ ናጽነት ግን ድማ በአረመናው ጉጅለ ህግደፍ ዝተጠልመ ዳግም ሰማዕታትና ሓደራኹም ሓሊና ኣብ ጎደና ቃልሲ ንርከብ ሓቀኛታት ደለይት ፍትሒ ሰላምን ዲሞክራሲን ዝሰፈና ብልዕልና ሕጊ ትምራሕ ሃገር ከይሃነጽና ኣይክንዓርፍን ኢና ክንብል ሓበን ይስማዓና زخبركم زخبركن تساتفتي إذا خبر بعل ناصنتنا أبز تفرالي كتماتات أستراليا أب تاريخ نايزي الدم بتقاومون مجمريا بحادث الترنفنا خنوب علوم وخنا عبي هجر عواتي إذا تاريخ هاوت على تزياء بتحدى شنخ سنسلتها ومجزاتي حنسابن حوارن زتسرق الله على تكوينا بتحدى شنخ دما زبتها ومجزاتي يقدف زت جمر الله على تيا أبزن إسران شمتن عمتات مجزاتي بهجدف أب هجرنا حزبنا زورده بدلات بموال بعدويان جزاتي ترأيو أي فلتني بزا قطامي كلهم نزو خبر هجرا وراينا بزي دموق أجباب كبعال زجبركم كبرن مقوسن يجباكم حدري سماعاتنا بمخبار مغابر هجدف حداس فتحي زنجسة حجر مهنات كتصاري ترانا نتصاوت بزا قطامي نتوم أبزا هجراوي قالسي بزي دوتا خقالسو نصنحو نز مسمرزين زصنحون كبرات ابوتاتن اياتاتن اندا مسغنكو كله كبرن مغوسن نزا تاريخاويت علات كبل افقدلي نزل علم اندا تذكرت كتنبر دمايا زخرن كبرن نسماعاتنا 24 جنبوت 2019 كامبرا.
الإخوة والأخوات الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. في البدء نرحب بكم في العاصمة الفيدرالية كامبرا. نرحب بمقدمكم وبجهودكم وبدعمكم من ولايات استراليا المختلفة، من أقصاها في الغرب في بيرث، ومن الشرق في بريسبن، ومن الوسط في سيدني وميلبورن، وفي أدليد من جنوبها. نرحب بكم في هذه الملحمة لنحيي الذكرى 28 لاستقلالنا المجيد. يوم 24 مايو هو تتويج لنضالات شعبنا البطولي بعد المرور بتضحيات كبيرة قدم فيها الإنسان الإريتري أغلى ما يملك، حيث سقط شهداءنا وأصيب جرحانا وتشرد اللاجئون في السودان وفي إثيوبيا وفي كل مناحي الأرض. وبالتالي يعتبر هذا اليوم يوم تاريخي لا يمكن أن نتجاوزه بعد أن سجل شهدائنا هذا التاريخ بأحرف من نور في سجلات التاريخ. لقد انتصرت 24 مايو على كل المؤامرات التي فرضت على الشعب الإريتري من قبل القوى العالمية آنذاك، التي رفضت إرادة الشعب الإريتري المطالب باستقلال إريتريا الكامل، وفرضت ضمها فيدراليا مع اثيوبيا. لكن كل تلك المؤامرات لم تصمد أمام إرادة الشعب الإريتري الذي توج استقلاله بتضحياته وقوة إرادته، وأعلن دولته المستقلة ذات السيادة في هذا اليوم التاريخي. المحترمون والمحترمات، المناضلون والمناضلات، لقد توجت إريتريا استقلالها بتضحيات انقسام مريرة خاضها الشعب الإريتري بجميع مكوناته العرقية وألوانه السياسية، ولذا الشعب الإريتري هو الوحيد الذي له الفضل في الاحتفال والاحتفاء بهذا اليوم التاريخي. منذ أن بدأت عملية السلام مع اثيوبيا في العام الفائت في شهر يونيو، أبرم النظام ظهرت نوايا النظام المتلاعب بالمسلمات والثوابت الوطنية، تارة يساوم بالسيادة وتارة أخرى يقلل من خسارة شعبنا وتضحياته. وهذا إن دل إنما يدل على أن أسياس وحزبه لا يمثل إلا قلة قليلة من الذين تلطخت أيديهم بدماء الأبرياء. أيها الإخوة المشاركون، من هو حزب الهجدف؟ وما هي أهدافه؟ وماذا يريد؟ نحن على يقين أن شعبنا الآن يدرك الإجابات على هذه الأسئلة، ونحن لسنا بصدد الإجابة لأن النتيجة واضحة كالشمس. المحترمون والمحترمات، المناضلون والمناضلات، نحن اليوم جئنا من كل ولايات أستراليا لنحتفل بهذا اليوم العظيم تلبية لوصايا شهدائنا الذين وصونا بالوحدة تحت الخط الوطني العريض حتى نبني إريتريا الديمقراطية التي تسع الجميع ولا تقوم إلا بالجميع، دولة يسودها الدستور وتحكم بالقانون. الإخوة والأخوات، يوم استغلالنا يعتبر يوم الانعتاق من المستعمر الأجنبي من جانب، ومن جانب آخر دخلنا في قبضة النظام الدكتاتوري الذي دمر مكتسباتنا الوطنية ومزق نسيجنا الاجتماعي وشرد شيبنا وشبابنا. فلهذا السبب هذا اليوم يعتبر انطلاقة شرارة العمل الحقيقي لتحرير الإنسان الإريتري من كل هذا الظلم وهذا التعسف. وبهذه المناسبة نشكر كل الشرفاء الذين جاءوا من جميع الولايات الأسترالية في هذا اليوم التاريخي الذي جمع بين الأشقاء في الوطن، ولكن الشرفاء الذين لم يحالفهم الحظ لم يستطيعوا أن يحضروا وأن يكونوا معنا، إلا أنهم أرسلوا برقيات التضامن والوقوف صفا مع شعبهم. عاشت 24 مايو، عاش الشعب الإريتري المناضل، المجد والخلود لشهدائنا الأبرار. 24 مايو 2019، كامبرا، أستراليا.
Free, free Eritrea!
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 أحوات بتصوت أبز لهم بتعم زحبني مس نفس وقفكم درجة مس مبزحتهم مالتي قصد نرأز لنا مجمع جزء أنا كامبيرا مجمع جزء متزله مس قال بتصوت أحواتي كامبيلبر مالتي ياسب بحال من البعض كنوعكم دليل نظام بسترخيكم زلهم زي قد سكوترنا جن تي إيرتراو منفس تي إيرتراو بحكي تي إيرتراوي نيات أبوتي زلهم نمولو أستراليا وكيلنا خمزلنا غيريد أوتران بزي قد سكوترنا من البعض نينفس وكيف كنتات circumstances نابزو بوتاز خمتزل زي كاله مخنيات كل سبب فولتايو جن بحكو تناي بحكي دليتو انتاي مخانو نفلتينا سلسي أباخم زلو دليت أباخم زلو بحكي أباخم زلو تمنيت أباتهم على أبتم زي موتو مالتي بزي قدس ناتهم زي لو أبزبوت هذه نحنا ناكلينا موردان إينا فينا بتعمي غني لي أزي باهم حبني أبزم هلاكم أزي مسكنكم تبح نقول ما موسال لكم تبح نقول ما كحسال لكم مخنياتو تي أب قدا قد زلو إيرتراوي إذا هذه تصحيف خصون حوي
ياكل نبعت حزبنا ياكل نبعت حزبنا ياكل مشطة إيرتراويان ياكل مشطة إيرتراويان
دبدابي تصحفت አላ ናብ መንግስቲ ኣውስትራልያ ማለት እዩ ከምኡን ካልኦት ደብዳቤታት ዘዳለና ያሎ ናብ ተፈላለየ ናብ ከምኡ UNHCR ኣለና ዩናይትድ ኔሽን ኣለና ከምኡን ናብ ኢትዮጵያን ጋቨርንመንት ናብ ተን ሃገራት ዓረባት ኣለና ኩሉ ተዳለወሎ እቲ ሓንቲ ሕጂ ክንገብራ ደሊና ዘለና ኣብዚኣ ግን ናብቲ መንግስቲ ኣውስትራልያ እትምልከት እያ ስለዚ ኣብዚኣ ሰናይት عبد مريم كتب ببلنا مالتي.
تم إعداد العديد من الرسائل وإرسالها إلى الجهات المعنية. تم إعداد رسالة إلى الحكومة الأسترالية ستتم قراءتها الآن بواسطة السنايد. تم إعداد رسالة أيضا إلى الحكومة الإثيوبية نعبر فيها عن مخاوفنا عن الاتفاق الغير معلن والاتفاق المشبوه الذي يمس سيادة إريتريا. أيضا هنالك خطاب تم إعداده للسفارة الأمريكية والاتحاد الأوروبي ولبعض الدول العربية أيضا نعبر فيها عن المخاوف التي تحيط بسيادة إريتريا واستغلالها. ولكن هذه الرسائل تم إرسالها للجهات المعنية. الرسالة التي سنتلوها إليكم هي الرسالة الموجهة من الإريتريين في أستراليا إلى الحكومة الأسترالية. سنايد.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sanay Taptamayam, and I, like you, I'm an Australian Eritrean. And I, like you, I'm an Australian Eritrean who's seeing you all today. I'm very proud, very encouraged, and I thank God for the day when we've all come together, united, despite what Isaias has tried to do to divide us based on religion, regions, or whatever else he could come up with. I'm very grateful that we've all united globally to say enough. And I agree with our brothers and sisters saying, so I'm very proud of you all, that we've united to stand up for the human rights and democracy and end the suffering of the Eritrean people. And now, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to make our call to the Australian government. And I'll read out the letter to the Honourable Scott Morrison, Prime Minister. Dear Prime Minister, we Eritrean Australians for Justice from all over Australia are holding a peaceful demonstration today in front of the Parliament House to say enough is enough to the gross ongoing human rights violations by the dictatorial regime in Eritrea, and wish to bring to you your urgent attention our plight of our fellow Eritreans in Eritrea and outside as refugees. Also, following our demonstration, we're joining all Eritreans around the world in celebrating the 28th Independence Day of Eritrea. First focusing on the human rights violations in Eritrea. Ever since it came into power 28 years ago, the government of Eritrea continues to rule the country with an iron fist, without constitution, without free and fair election, and free from any law. There is no independent judiciary and no national assembly with representations from all regions in the nation. A UN inquiry in 2016 found that the government had committed crimes against humanity for 2 decades, now nearing 28 years. And among the violations investigated as part of the UN inquiry were those pertaining to extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearances, arbitrary arrest and detention, torture and prison conditions, freedom of expression of opinion, freedom of association assembly, freedom of religious belief, freedom of movement, and forced military conscription. Under such circumstances, the Eritrean people are enduring immense suffering. Thousands of Eritreans are incarcerated, subjected to indefinite detention, and are tortured in inhumane and degrading prison conditions. The practice of detention without trial and incommunicado is rampant. Many die in agony and solitude without seeing a court of law. In spite of the recently signed peace agreement with neighboring Ethiopia, we all note that no progress has been made in Eritrea's domestic human rights situation. None has been reported. Now moving on to with regards to indefinite military conscription. Since 1995, Eritrean youth have been forced to serve in an indefinite military service. Eritrean youth, horrendously abused under this practice, with no viable option to fulfill their aspirations of education and professional growth, family lives, and any other objectives. The indefinite national military service is often described as modern slavery. Many are fleeing the country in huge numbers, making Eritrea one of the leading producing refugees countries in the world. In their escape, many of these youth are exposed to horrendous suffering in the hands of smugglers, traffickers, organ harvesters operating in the Sub-Sahara Desert and the Mediterranean Sea. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough, Isaias. Enough causing suffering to our people. This is the peaceful demonstration that we're making, and we will do everything that we can to make sure that it happens. Now moving on to the discussion around the Enough is Enough peaceful demonstration. We're joining our hands in the united call of Enough is Enough, of dictatorial rulership by the Eritrean sisters and our brothers inside and outside the country, united, and we're now calling for an establishment of a democratic nation with a rule that encourages the refugees to return home to their country, with a rule that respects the fundamental human rights of the Eritrean people. We're holding our peaceful demonstration today to coincide with the celebration of Eritrea's 28th Independence Day on the 24th of May 2019, and to point out that the dreams, the sacrifice, and the struggles that the Eritreans have gone through for 30 years, and those that paid the ultimate price of sacrificing their life, has been betrayed. Due to the destitute situation that's currently in Eritrea. Some 8,000 of Eritreans and other sub-Saharan African refugees and migrants have recently found themselves also caught in the crossfire amongst warring militias in Libya, as security has deteriorated in Tripoli and elsewhere. Their circumstances are dire, and many men, women, children are hidden in detention facilities and makeshift jails. We've received numerous reports that women are raped, that there is lack of food, medication, and attention and basic security. So, our request to you, Prime Minister, from Australian Eritreans, is to take up the gross human rights violations in Eritrea with the United Nations, and also call for democratic and accountable government that abides by the rule of law, according to the stipulations of the UN Charter and other regional and international consensus documents. We would also like to take this opportunity to thank Australia for resettling thousands of Eritrean refugees in Australia for many years. But at the same token, Given the dire situation of the Eritrean refugees in Libya, it's also our utmost hope that the Australian government would consider settlement of these refugees. Thank you.
تدرس أبرا بال كاب بريسبان كوينسلاند دينا مسينا نعسر 4 ساعات زخون بقعزو بدرايف جيرنا هنا مسينا كابانا زروح قوين كاب روح زمسو سبات وين اللو كاب على البرز كاب زخون ميلبرن كاب زخون نجارات مالتي سلازي أبز مرخابكم تعمينا نحجز كم زيلو هاقصر نزل عالم يناندلي جانا زبلوز دل زلوسي إتي أمسي كازولوسي أبز سنتايو ويامسي نازولو سنتاي ده رايلنا أمسي نازولو بزو كلنا تشجرنا هاجرنا شجرنا هاني نحن زم أنا شجر هذا كله نحن حبيرنا زي مصر هنا زم كلنا أشحات نهون كل تسب 10 تسب أبشجرت يوم نازلوا مالتي سلازي حبيرنا تقاليسنا نزلت على بمولو درعنا هاجرنا تمرسنا نجرش دكنارينا نكيد لنا من بالي سلازي تي ممتنا له هبزيادة هذون كله ما بشجر زلوا إخواتنا نامنت أبليبيا أبي سربيت أبي إرترا كله أبي علينا أبي سران زلوا نزياتهم أف تعبيسهم بلاستر سلازلوا نزياتهم كنبلنا نزخول المسينا زلنا نزياتهم كان قبروا لهم نحرق قلنا كلنا ستاندين أب نقبرنا مالتي سلازي هيجدفن السياسة أو واحد عمتاتو كتفيو
ناياكل صوعيت إيرترايان تقماتو أستراليا بعسران 4 قنبت كلتشحن 10 تشعتن عسران 4 قنبت إيرترا بلسات دكا خفيلة ناتسنت أبزر خبلو أوان هزبنا ناتسنت كيستماغيري إتان ناتسنت نبارنت تغيرا إيرتراوي أبكند ناتسنتو زستماغير عددا موتن ماسرتن سدتن كوينو بسنك والكملاخي إسياسن هكدفاويانن سعابتن هزبنا أبعددا دخنتن سدتن بموداق أفع عبيسوم يساقيوو ألو بزا قاتامي عسران 4 قنبت مبار نحنا إيرتراويان نبرت أستراليا نزنا ياكل زبل قوسقواس تقبلنا إزز السعب لبوان محسنتان نهزبن سراويتن إيرترا نقرب قداماي هزبي نزي قبات سرعات ياكل إلو سلطانو تركيبو فتحاويتن قواماويتن إيرترا كمسرتيو كالاي والكملاخي سياس بزفت صومو قبانات بهوصوص نبحكي كغربيو سالساي بزي قبان زتأسرو ناي هايمانوتن ناي بوليتيكان حلنان كنفوتحومينا رابعاي أكراخاري دوب بمسرت سممع الجرس بقبري أبايتا كحنساتيو حمشاي دقفت هكدف نبقون هزبوكم تسنبيركم أبركتوكم قبارو شادشاي لعلوات حلفت مكل خال إيرترا إتحاسيس زلو مسلخو من كبرخو من مغيار طلبات هزبوكم أتكبرو شاوعي نخلو أبال مكل خال حيلتات إيرترا بمسرت أنصار هزبو نخيق النع بترين اللابو شامناي كلكم أوشتي هاجرن أبوتسان زلخم مراحة هايمانت إزيز السرعات أب هزبي إيرترا زوردو زلون زنبرن قفعتات يأكل بالو أمود داتا كلنا إيرترايان كاب كلن كتماتات أستراليا أبزي تأكيبنا زلنان باستفلا لي مخنياتات مسانا زي اللون كلنا كنيو ودكت سرعات والكملاخي سياس علمنا حدنتنا سمرتنا أحدثنا قواماويتن فتحاويتن إيرترا كمون هزبنا بمعري تخبابيرو زنبرلا هاجر كونتن مقبار بحابار تترنيفنا كي تحللنا بتوفاينتن بنيحن كنسرح نبقس يغني لي
بيان الإريتريين المقيمين في بريسبن وضواحيها بمناسبة ذكرى استغلال إريتريا القائم في مدينة كامبرا استراليا 24/5/2019. بالرغم من أن الشعب الإريتري قد حصل على الاستغلال بدم الشهداء الغالي، لكن الاحتفالات التي يقيمها النظام بهذه المناسبة لم تكن احتفالات شعبية حقيقية، وإنما أصبحت أدوات دعاية يستخدمها النظام الدكتاتوري وزمرته لتمرير مآربه. وكانت هذه الاحتفالات ولا زالت تثير الشكوك لدى الكثيرين من الإريتريين في أهمية الاحتفال بها من عدمه. نحن سكان بريسبن وضواحيها نؤمن بأن يكون يوم ذكرى الاستقلال يوم يتحد فيه كل الإريتريين، يوم يتجدد فيه العهد. لهذا السبب نحن اليوم نحتفل مع بعضنا البعض جميعا الإريتريين من مختلف أقاليم أستراليا، موحدين متوحدين متماسكين. ومن جانبنا أيضا نؤكد بأن يكون هذا الاحتفال الموحد بادرة أولية ولست أخيرة، ونتعهد بأن نبذل كل ما في وسعنا لاستمرار هذه الاحتفالات الموحدة. بهذه المناسبة إذ نؤكد مجددا دعمنا لحركة كفاية، ونقول معا: كفاية ظلم، كفاية ظلم، كفاية استعباد، كفاية معاناة، كفاية لجوء، كفاية لجوء، نعم للحرية، نعم للدستور. وأيضا بهذه المناسبة ندعو الشعب الإريتري والجيش الإريتري بما يلي: أولا، أن يعمل الشعب الإريتري لإزالة هذا النظام الجائر وإقامة دولة دستورية تسودها العدالة والديمقراطية. نعم للعدالة، نعم للعدالة، نعم للديمقراطية. ثانيا، العمل على إطلاق سراح جميع المعتقلين السياسيين ورجال الدين بقوة الشعب الإريتري. ثالثا، العمل على ترسيم الحدود بين أريتريا وأثيوبيا لأن هذا يمثل السيادة الإريترية. رابعا، ندعو العناصر المساندين للنظام أن ينضموا لهذا الحراك الشعبي ويقوموا بدورهم لمصلحة الشعب الإريتري. خامسا، ندعو المسؤولين الكبار في وزارة الدفاع الإريترية أن يقوموا بتلبية نداء الشعب، وذلك ليجدوا الاحترام والتقدير من قبل الشعب الإريتري. سادسا، ندعو بشدة كافة أفراد الجيش الإريتري على أن لا يوجهوا السلاح في وجه شعبهم. سابعا، ندعو كافة رجال الدين في الداخل والخارج أن يفضحوا ممارسات هذا النظام وأن يقولوا له: كفاية ظلم، كفاية ظلم، كفاية استعباد، كفاية استعباد، كفاية معاناة. في النهاية علينا نحن الإريتريين أن نوحد أنفسنا ونفكر مليا على ما يجب القيام به بعد التخلص من هذا النظام لكي نبني دولة دستورية ديمقراطية نعيش فيها سويا بالتساوي والاحترام المتبادل. رحم الله شهداءنا الأبرار. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Eritreans in Australia, Independence Day, 24 May 2019, Canberra, Australia. Eritrean people have made their dream of independence real through long struggle and at a cost of tens of thousands of precious lives. However, for many years, Independence Day celebrations have been used as a propaganda tool by the totalitarian dictatorship system in ways that do not reflect the significance of the day to the Eritrean people. It is not far from the truth to say that this has created a dilemma to many Eritreans inside the country and diaspora. We Eritreans in Australia believe that Independence Day should reflect the noble cause generations of Eritreans have paid to dearly, and that every Eritrean has to come together to renew their promises, join the struggle to build constitutional and democratic Eritrea that respects the rights of every citizen. As a mile journey starts with a single step, here in Canberra, we Eritreans from all over Australia are gathered and united today to celebrate our Independence Day. This is the beginning and not the end. On behalf of the tireless organizing committee, I assure you that we will do our best. This kind of gathering and discussion should be the way of celebrating Independence Day. I hope you are saying together, we will make it bigger and better. We will make it bigger and better. On this special occasion, we Eritreans in Australia would like to express our support for any movement that says enough is enough, and works to bring an end to the lawless dictatorial regime in Eritrea. We would like to convey our declarations and message to the people of Eritrea that we will continue our struggle until, number one, the unlawful totalitarian regime is overthrown and a constitutional democratic Eritrea governed by the rule of law and where the rights of every citizen is respected and established. All religious, political, and other prisoners of conscience are set free. Number three, Eritrea's borders are fully demarcated and its sovereignty is guaranteed. We also call upon, one, supporters of the illegitimate regime in Eritrea to side with their peoples and to contribute to the struggle for justice, rule of law, and respect for Eritrean sovereignty. Two, hire officials of the defense force to regain their respect by honoring their responsibility to uphold the rule of law and support the just demands of their people. Three, to all members of the military, not direct your guns towards your own people. Number four, to all religious leaders inside the country and in diaspora, to boldly stand against the unjust and ill treatment of the dictatorial government against your people. We call you to say enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Finally, we encourage all Eritreans to think beyond the fall of the dictatorial regime by renewing our unity to fulfill the objectives of our martyrs set out to achieve. Let us roll our sleeves and work to claim our dignity by ensuring that Eritrea is governed by constitution and the rule of law and everyone that respect and treated equally. Glory to our martyrs. God bless Eritreans and Eritrea. Eritreans in Australia, 24th May 2019. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
كبراتن كبرانن دق هاجر إريترا تقمطو هاجر أستراليا كلهم ترعان حزبكم هاجركم تغتك علعو أب كامبرا ونختم هاجر أستراليا تساتفوا زلهم لعل سلام تندمو يوحنان يبصحكم أبزي حزبنا ملوء حرنت كويتو كناس أفه كبرتي معتنا سنت قبل الله زلوا وان تاريخ تفسموا زلهم أبزي تعتكموا زلهم قنسي إريتراوان دليت فتحي تقمطو نيوزيلاند بوجنا حزبنا كساب حقنا ديمقراسيون فتحاون من محدار أم مسرات زعوت أبقنكم تسلفنا مهلاونا بأخم أبلنا كم زخرعنا كنراز ألكم فتو كساب وتكت سرعات هجدفت ما نبولو حزبنا زقلقل سرعات هجرنان كساب التمسرت من انت حزبنا هجرنان معركم كساب عود كن سوقمينا كاب أحواتكم أحدكم تك هاجركم دليت فتحي تقماتو هاجر نيوزيلاند الأخوة والأخوات الأعزاء أبناء إريتريا الشرفاء نحييكم ونهنيكم وأنتم تشاركون في تلبية نداء إريتريا وشعبها في العاصمة أستراليا كامبرا. نقف معكم وأنتم تسرطون أروع صفحات التاريخ شعبنا. نحيي ذكرى استقلال الذي لم يتحقق معا، ونحن عبركم نضالات شعبنا في الداخل والمهجر لتحقيق الديمقراطية والعدالة الحقيقية. سيروا ونحن معكم صفا واحد حتى سقوط النظام السياسي الدكتاتوري ومن أجل وطن يسع الجميع. أخواتكم وأخواتكم في نيوزيلاند. شكرا.
نابدليتي فتحي أستراليا حدنتاوي سلامتانا تقبلوا أب التكايدو زلهم من كسغاس أسالتون منا نحنا نبرتي هوبارت اتي أبلعلي هزبنا هاجرنا زورد زلو كل مداوي عنوة مكران بمذكر هجدف زبها السرعات إسياس نمسواتي أحواتنا ندكنان رجيتو ننت أبواقع عداقا زأتوس لزخونة حدا دوبنا معلبوس إنو كلتا قوامنا كتقبرو أيكالن سلسته أسراتنا فتح سئينهم 4 من اسياتنا فح بتن سلازبلنا نهجدف نخونن نهزباويك قالسي نفتحي ندقف سلازي دما يأكل بمبال نتي بأستراليا درجة زكاية زلو من كسقاس أبقونكم كم زلنا نرقاقز معالتي نتعنتنا بحلنانا فلوي بمذكار كنبعلو إنا جزياويت شماغله هوبارت بحدنتنا نعوت
نشيكت بحزمت يزلخو سلامي زريعت بل مجمرة خبلوز دلي يأكل مفللاي يأكل فرحي يأكل سقطة يأكل بارنات سلامي زريعو نمولو موالو انت الفوقفات سناي زي بلو مثلالن حاسوتن زعملو فحبتنيتنا تعي تمثيلو نخندي نصحات إيرتراويان أبتحت مريت أسفيرو نخلو مهراتنا بزنا حلا يأثيرو عبيتنا ناشنان أبسدت أسفيرو مريت بحيتوا حجس مسامحارو حاسوت وري زرقه واي زهداري نخلو يؤمنو اندابلق جرمال لعدي هزمنا انكو سرحو خوينو مايلان بان خنادي بلن هالوكم نخلو خونينو تجمع معدي ورق تشليمو زنصبارق ولادي تنبأ زقبا سا نسو مسبتاتو يعطنتنا يفحق زغلو حزبنا بتميتن باهق ازن دار ناس عيني بنسو زعخو خندات حاجر ونينوا دس زبلو غيرو طرحات ريفوا غرما قنطيتو مدربدا قيروا جن علو وننتا امسلكا زقبصوا عبيتهم ناشتم كلهم بمعدو عزبوا قروب كي حفره اي كسران كبل قياحت خفينا من سيات غوبالل اتها خومي للو زيناتكم هلال ينجان دابل نخلو قبلل نزامچت ايراناس يحل ما تكونلو خلل واي حزبي تواريتكا نساراس عامه جهوت تحيسكا نخيت زارب بافكا تعابسكا امنت كان دالو ابزوريكا بلا هاي حجي تمهار كاب حلف تاريكا اواغا اداغا نخيتواكا الا ما خانصر نافت صلايخا اتا نحنا خب سدس زلنا فحد بتنزبله حسابات حزنا كله شجرنا حرنا هالو كله تشجرنا حد متحقق فتش من داتفانا ياكل عينكم مفتش صلاينا نفسنا نفتش قرب ندحرت ملسنا نتفوق هنا هلو تجواب علينا يعني الله
هجي انت اينا هنقبر ات زلو بروجرام تسرعينا مجمريات كابو تسفامي كالي بحال كابرز بماليتيو كميت سريعنا زلنا منالون اللابزي ماليت منال يونس كمون درزا أسمان بمجمريا بسلستيو قانقا كنفتينا ماليتيوت برنامجنا نكفتينا كاون دحال انتي يكون بإنجليش راح يكون نحنا مدب ماليتيو انتي كتلونا يا تاكل غزي نغبرا ناي حدا دقيقه نحلنا صلوت نتم سماعتنا نذكرينا مالتنا نخلوت كحلف.
طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. في البداية نعتذر عن التأخير، تأخرنا تقريبا حوالي 20 دقيقة. حنحاول نضغط البرنامج عشان ننهي في التوقيت المطلوب. برنامجنا إن شاء الله حيكون عندنا 4 أوراق أو 4 متحدثين أساسيين. حيكون عندنا 4 متحدثين أساسيين. الحديث كله والحوار إن شاء الله حيكون هم حيتكلموا بالإنجليزي. الناس بعدك حرة اللي عاوز يتكلم بالعربي أو بالتجريني حنحاول نساعد في الترجمة. برنامجنا اليوم حنكون معاكم دكتور تكابو، عبد الرازق من كامبرا، ومنال يونس من أدلايد. حنبدأ بدقيقة وقفة حداد على الشهداء وبعد ذلك إن شاء الله حندخل في البرنامج.
Hello everybody and welcome. I'd like to take a moment to pay my respects to the traditional owners of this land and to acknowledge elders past and present and also the ongoing connection to this land. We've had a great day so far. The rest of this program is going to be in English, but before we do anything more, just as it was mentioned, this is Dr. Takabo, he's here from Brisbane, and we have Abdul Razak here and we have from Canberra, and we have myself from Adelaide. before we go any further, we're going to take a moment to pay our respects to the martyrs before us. We're going to have a minute of silence, and that will begin now. If we could all stand up, please. Thank you very much. To continue with the rest of the program, I would like to introduce Dr. Takabo. So I've left my paper over there, but Dr. Takabo works at the University of Queensland, and works at the University of Queensland and actually got his PhD in Uppsala in Sweden, and he's here today to introduce the rest of the program for us.
طيب برنامجنا ان شاء الله حيبدا دكتور تكابو هو محاضر في جامعه كوينزلاند وحيدي مقدمه عن طبيعه هذا النشاط وخلفيته والخطوات اللي اوصلتنا الى هذه المحطه.
Okay, thank you guys. First of all, before I just want to give you a background, a little bit of introduction. But before I start that, just I want to mention that the last, I think, 2 days before the election day, we know the Prime Minister of Australia, Bob Hawke, had passed away, and we know he was a great friend of Eritrea. Especially, he launched the book Towards Asmara with Tom Kennedy. So we just want to pass our condolences to the family as well as to the Australian people. After that, I just want to give a little bit of introduction. We know everything, but it's good also to give a background. So we know everybody how we were jubilating, how we were happy during the 1991 celebration day. People were everywhere in the street, but we know also the 1993 referendum, which 99.8% of people voted yes, and we can see it there in the picture as you see that people were in the queue to cast their vote. So we know how the people at that time, the emotion, all those interests of people to bring this country into forward. But then it comes to 2019. I just jumped from there to 2019. Well, it is a time of Yiakel. It's different, the time of Yiakel. And how we are celebrating? We are celebrating just demonstrations, conferences, maybe discussions all over the world. I just listed only few of those countries who are doing this, but we can list almost all over the world. We are saying Yiakel, and we are celebrating this day different way. We're celebrating by saying Yiakel, we already done, and we're celebrating also by giving the conference and also discussion for our country, how we will, I think, build our country in the future. So, having said that, I would like to just quickly mention why May 24 then, why we decide to do on May 24. Of course, as I have said, it is the day that the colonialism is get rid of colonialism, and then we become a sovereign country. So that is a day of joys and a day of happiness. But at the same time, it is, as you might see, we had dreams of the 30 war struggle. The dream was for what? It's for building a democratic country, a country which is justice. However, this has been betrayed. So we would like to voice at this day as well. So these are the two reasons, but we can have more reasons why we decide to do on this day. You probably see, I just put it here. This was the 2018 peace between Ethiopia and Eritrea. The people were happy. Always the Eritreans are celebrating for peace. We thought it is, everybody thought that it's a peaceful and a lasting peace. However, it turns out to be different. Okay, so having said that, so our country is, as I have indicated here, it's betrayed because we see only one dictator doing this all things and probably few followers. So, having said that, we try to organize this event within a very short period of time. It was only 1 month we did. And how we, why, first of all, why we choose, I have already indicated, but how did we manage to do one month of, I mean, it's a big event, and we managed to do it within 1 month. It's just technology, not only technology without devotion, without determination is difficult. So the people who organize this, they were very determined. They say that there might be many obstacles, but we can do it, and we made it as well. So that's pretty much what I would really want to appreciate for the organizing committee. So our program is, as I have mentioned it before, from 11 to 1 p.m. we had this demonstration, this peaceful demonstration, saying we had said Yiakel, enough is enough, or Canberra. Okay. Then now we start from 3 up to 5. We have this conference, and the conference we have got good speakers. Actually, even Dr. Burhan managed to come on time, so we are really happy on that. We are grateful for that. Now, the next is between 6 or 6:30. The program is 6:30, but we can extend it, maybe if possible 6. We can put it. Going to be up to 8 o'clock. We're going to have discussions. So we'll see later on. I will let you know what those discussions are, what the agenda are. However, we're going to change the hall from here to the bigger one. Unfortunately, the time between 3 and 5 was already occupied. That's why we crowded here. However, later on we will move to the bigger hall. So apology for that. So having said that, only thing I would like to stress here is that in order to achieve our objective, we will have objectives, but to achieve our objectives, what do we need to do? We need to do, first of all, we need to have open-minded. Our mind should be open. We shouldn't have any bias. Who is coming here? Don't worry. So, because we are transparent, we're doing transparent things, so, and we will win. So, let's be open-minded. Let's be prepared for reconciliation. Let's be determined to achieve our objectives. So that means commitment is important. So we need to do these things in order to successfully achieve our objectives. Of course, we know our objective. What is our objective? Definitely, we want to throw the dictator. That's it, and we'll like to have a country which is a country of constitution, a country that will be ruled by law, and of course a country of justice. So that's what we're going to achieve. Okay, so now I will stop here, and I will pass the stage to Abdelrazak.
Thank you, Dr. Tikabo. I would like to acknowledge Dr. Tikabo, the hard work, the devotion. If not for Dr. Tikabo, this event wouldn't be as it is today. It is bigger than our expectation. It's higher than our expectations. That's why we are all crowded in this small hall. So maybe our expectation should be bigger and higher. As he mentioned, we have 4 speakers, and 2 males and 2 females. That's good. But we're gonna start with the males for respect. It's the age issues. It's not the gender issue. So our first speaker is Dr. Burhan. Dr. Burhan is a well-known Eritrean or Australian from Eritrean background. He's a lecturer and a senior researcher at Melbourne University. He was nominated for Australian of the Year for 2009, and he awarded Victorian of the Year for 2009. I was privileged to be with him here in Canberra that time. And he played a great role with African communities and Eritrean community as well. He was the head of Eritrean community in Melbourne for a long time. So he's a well-known. We'll introduce Dr. Burhan in the issue of reconciliation and its future in Eritrea. The floor is yours, Dr.
ንኸንፃኒ ደስ ዝበለኒ ንመጀመርያ ካብቲ ክሊ ናይ ገዛውትና ወፂና ሓደ ስቴፕ ንቅድሚት ከድና እዚ ድማ أبتي زلو قعزو دس يبل بس مخنيات نتوم زدالو نزي كمسجونو مفتو كابو غسيلي يغني لي زي نعايز هابكم نعدل نخزارب كاباهم زيادة فليتي يكون جنزل لنا حساب مساهم كافل دسنا بلني كابت خدالو وصانا حكو خبست حاتتكو بزعبا reconciliation جندما أعيشه اللوبزي بزعبا نايقود لاينا زي فلتو سلازي عينايو قدمي تانسينا عينايو قصنح زعبا يحطو نيرو سلازي فقدو لي قرب باك جراوند خهب منالبات كلهم تفلتو وتخونو قنتم زي فلتو مسانا أبتسو قمت نخاطبو بزعباتي زلو كنتات أقدمها بلا قرب كقلتي أقدمي reconciliation and peace نزول سلازي distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodian of the land of which we are meeting, the Nwangwal people, and pay respect to their elders of the Nwangwal nation, both past and present. I have been fortunate enough to work with the indigenous people, the traditional owners of the land. People I respected their wisdom in the way they are, guided by elders. They are not so far apart from our own people. So there is similarity within our culture and the indigenous culture because they have respect to their elders and they work with their elders, which this is a sign that we need to celebrate. We are with people who have got similar cultures that are to be respected. Now, the theme of our meeting is unity in diversity, reconciliation and peace. And I like to remind everyone, including myself, that this meeting is hosted in a city that owns and promotes reconciliation and peace and shares reconciliation and peace with other people, including us. Therefore, can we own and share reconciliation and peace with each other and with others? So my focus is, what are the steps to own reconciliation and peace? It is important to free ourselves from hate, vengeance, start to create forgiveness, which we can, and to be honest with you as a Muslim, the first thing in Islam says, forgiveness is al-musamih kareem. And the only time a character of a human described in God's behavior is when you are forgiving, which means whoever forgives is merciful. So, and preparedness to compromise and accept and respect with humility. One thing that we carry with us in our baggage, which we got it back from home, is pride. This has to go. We're living with egalitarian society. Australians are known as egalitarian society. They're very humble. Whether you are a professor, a prime minister, or a minister, you are part of the society. You are normal. And that is part of our crisis in our system, that we like to be, it's me. That culture has to change for a step to take in reconciliation. We need to know where we are from, where we are now, and also need to have a vision of where we want to go. That is essential if we are to plan for the future. Knowing where we're coming from, to where we are now, and to where we are going will help us to put our plans in accordance. Which I like to say it in Tigrinya, that نحناتهم مجمريا حزبينا ناب علم ني كابوغا حديمهم زبوتو سدتنياتا زعقوبنا هنا كلتي هايمانوت سلستيو نا يهود Islam and Christianity side by side كوينو نخنبرها بعلم استفتنا ناباناي حجي نحنا مجرشا خنكون قبني. In my final words, I'd like to acknowledge the organizers of this conference today, Dr. Tukabo, Dr. Dawit, Salah, Abdrazak, and many dedicated individuals to make us come one step close to going to Eritrea. So I'd like to say thank you for listening and thank you for your patience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Burhan, for touching on a very critical and timely issue. The issue of reconciliation. استنيت هجرة واستنيت المصالحة الوطنية الوفاق الوطني. And issues are supposed to be a top priority for our state institution. However, it was and it is ignored and sidelined intentionally by the government. It's a divide and rule. 20 years after independence, we shouldn't wait any longer. We should take the matter on our hand. We should start reconciliation in diaspora. We should start it here in Australia, and we should start it here in Canberra, and we should start it here today. Thanks, Dr. Burhan. Okay. شكرا دكتور برهان على المحاضرة القيمة عن الوفاق وعن المصالحة الوطنية. قضية مهمة جدا جدا اتناولها دكتور برهان. المفروض تكون هي الأولوية القصوى للحكومة أو بعد الاستقلال، إلا أن الحكومة تجاهلت هذا الموضوع عن عمد لأنها تعتمد سياسة فرق تسد. نحن الآن في المهجر، يجب أن لا ندع هذا الأمر يمر، يجب أن نأخذ الأمر بأيدينا، ويجب أن نبدأ مشروع المصالحة في المهجر. يجب أن نبدأه هنا في أستراليا، يجب أن نبدأه هنا في كامبرا، ويجب أن نبدأه هنا الآن. Our next speaker is Dr. Peter Jones. As you can see, he got his PhD from University of New England. He is Eritrean friend. He is a believer in Eritrean cause. He is an Eritrean fighter, basically. He crossed all the way. He crossed all Tasman Sea from Tasmania and then to Melbourne and then here to Canberra to be among us. We are honored to have him here. The floor is for Dr. Peter Jones.
Okay. As earlier speakers have indicated, it's our tradition in Australia to start our presentation with acknowledging the people whose land we meet on today, our respect for their elders past, present and future. And because we're meeting in Canberra, I'd just like to remind you of the origin of the word Canberra. It means a meeting place, although some people would argue about that. It was the meeting place for the people from the coast with the people from inland. So yes, we do meet on Aboriginal land, but it's appropriate that you're meeting today at a place called the Meeting Place. So welcome. And if you want to see what it was like when Canberra started, go and look at some of those early pictures with the sheep wandering around Parliament House. I thought I ought to start by introducing myself, because you might wonder why on earth I came all the way from Tasmania to talk to you here today. Yes, I got up at 4 o'clock. When I was a child in Bath in England, one of the things I was aware of was that Emperor Haile Selassie spent some of his exile during the Italian occupation in a big house near Bath. And before he left, he presented us with a pair of elephant tusks, which still sit in the town hall. When I was a child too, my parents welcomed many African students into our house. Mum used to call it the International Hotel. And it included Eritreans during the early period of the British military administration and then the period between 1952 and 62. And I remember getting some of those stamps early on, British stamps overstamped with Eritrea. And I remember looking it up, because that's one of the joys of stamp collecting, which seems to have disappeared now with email. Later on, my parents moved to Malawi, and I went overland through Africa, from Egypt to South Africa and back, to learn much more about the African continent at first hand. And I was in Addis Ababa in 1974 when the emperor was overthrown, except I didn't realize what was going on at the time. Later, when I came back, I decided to visit Eritrea. And I caught the bus from Addis Ababa to Asmara, 3 days, up and down, and through the war zone. And people on the bus pointed to things by the road and said there was an attack here, there was an attack here, look at the damage. And when I got to Asmara, we were all put under curfew. And then I was going across to Sudan, and they said, no, the road's closed. So after the curfew was lifted, we had to fly to Kassala. That's another story. Then later on in my life, when I came here, I worked in Canberra. Today brought back many memories. I was in the old Parliament House working as a research officer for one of the independent senators. And a group of young Eritreans came to visit us. They wanted to set up the Eritrean Relief Association. And they met in our office because we were independent. And we had a committee, cross-party, Labour, Liberal and Independent. And it included support from Fred Hollows, who I met, from Thomas Keneally, and I still have a copy of that book, Towards Asmara, and many others. And so we set up, this was at the time of the famine, 1988, 89, 1991. And then finally Eritrea came into my life again when I moved to Hobart. And I now have an adopted Eritrean daughter. In fact, she dobbed me in for this. And I also work in the Migrant Resource Centre in Hobart. I'll talk a bit about that later, with Eritrean refugees. So I just wanted to make 5 points about Eritrea and Australia. It's important to remember that Eritreans are part of a wave of asylum seekers across the planet. The last estimate of the United Nations High Commission for Refugees was 64 million, the highest in the world. And one of the disappointments about being in Australia at the moment is that we've turned our back on responding to this wave of people seeking a better life, seeking to escape from tyranny, and Article 14 of the Declaration of Human Rights, that everyone has the right to seek asylum. This government is flouting international law, and it's why I wear a badge that says seeking asylum is legal. So what we have to do as the first thing is we have to develop a more humanitarian approach in Australia to the wider problem of refugees and asylum seekers. I was very sad, more than sad, on Saturday night, because I knew one of the things that would happen was that those asylum seekers on Manus and Nauru, in the detention centres in Australia, my friends who are here on temporary protection visas, nothing is going to improve. We've already had 9 attempted suicides on Manus and Nauru because of the hopelessness in the face of the election of the coalition government. So I'm not pretending to be partisan, I'm not. We have to work for the right of Eritreans, and we had speakers earlier today who talked about the wave of Eritreans losing their lives across the desert, losing their lives in the Mediterranean, and then those who have made it and are in this desperate search for a better life. So we have that responsibility, not only to Eritreans, and particularly those Eritreans rotting in the jails of Libya, but all those people seeking a better life, and especially those of you who've come to Australia or are trying to get people here. And it's not just Australia. Sadly, this wave of, we call it the identity crisis. It's affecting Italy, where a lot of Eritreans are going because of its past, where you've got an appalling government as well that is turning its back on refugees and Italy's past. So the second point I want to make, support for the refugees already here. I work with Now I've retired from teaching. Technology got the better of me. I work with the Migrant Resource Centre in Hobart. And we work with refugees and asylum seekers. All sorts of different levels. I'm working with teenagers struggling to adapt to our education system. And we've talked about the importance of education. I'm teaching a young Eritrean woman how to drive. It's pretty scary. I taught her how to ride a bike. And she's learning to swim. But so many of the Eritrean community in Hobart, where I live, can't even speak English. So that's another level where we can respond immediately to some of the families who are here, particularly the single mothers, coping without a husband and with 2 or 3 children.
Again to the next speaker. The next speaker is Saba Abraham. Saba Abraham is from Brisbane. As you can see, the CV I just made it very short. She's, of course, Australian of Eritrean origin, and she lives in Brisbane. Saba received a pride, and that is a Pride of Australia medal in 2009. Of course, Saba was very dedicated, especially to women and bringing women into a level that men can be. And she has, of course, established the one known as the MOOs. So women who've been at home need to go out and at least know the Australian way of life, and then probably make themselves as well known to the society. So her contribution was great, and now she's going to talk also on, I think, women in politics, but maybe the title could be changed, but that's where I put. So let's welcome Saba to this.
መጀመሪያ ዶክተር ብርሃን join ክገብሮ ደሊ ኣብቲ to pay my respect for the traditional owner of this land, which is we are gathered past and present and future. لمعلتي معلتنا صنت يوخن كلنا نفلطو معلتنا صنت كا معلتنا صنتنا اوكي لو معلتي ابزي ترخيبنا له زلنا اتي اوكي معلت من ناصنتنا كلنا مالت كم تخلو طوس زصنه نمجرمريا غزي كم إيرتراويان بفلاي كأدليت فتحي كابز تفالالي كورنعتنا أستراليا ترخيبنا بزعبها هاجرنا تخبر واجا زخفلنا لنا هاجرنا كنزاراربن نتوم دمص زي بلون كأدمص خنا سمع أبز مركبنا بزخبر معلت زي سمعني حقوس وسنية بلون إذا معلت زي نقولنا إذا معلت زي نقولنا نناتو سمعت الله حدا هم تخزق الصنحة نحنا بتوم بلوزات يحواتنا سدرانا بصقتنا شل عدميهم عمبابا عدميهم كفيلهم نناس النت كبصحون هاجرهم زخفلوا مصوانت أزيو خبر سمعنا خلو بتحرش نخكأ زخبور مصواتنا زتخفلو بلز هاجرنا هلوتنا لومي دحري زخل واجا ودسوق كفاء أبقالاي كتحل من إسي إرترا إتي سوق من الوقت أفتوان تزنورنا إن ذكره نحنا بجح حليفنا إرترا ولادنا إرترا كلنا جرادينا جن نزومنا جوسي بلو أنا كل جزء اسمع ذكره قد ما ميرام وزاي مالتي تقدر تخلونا خلو نأخذكم كإرترا برهان كتكوني هبلوني رو نعي أمن أسعد ما يبقى سخ كأتو كابت زدف أنا زنبرخة إذا بلس حجر ناس حجر سلام كلنا جرزر لوا كتلوني أزبل تسفى سلزنا برني زتسفى زخ أزي الصوم هبوني رو لومي من إسياتنا عدوم ناس أمس وصلت ببطاتهم بديتاتهم بحزبهم ها أب بحري خطحلو كاب هاجر كوسو كاب تأزيو زي واحد زي دك السنجري إذا خا كم تخلنا النفلتو نحنا اتبعدي اتجزائي وشفتاري خبلو بزي حقس لازم الرحسي من قستي يختبلون شجاري بزخونا جن نسو نحجر بعلامة نهزبي بعلامة خطفو كله نحناون تحتتو مغنى كنرسع بلنا السان تفليتنا راح كعينا زلوم حزنا يا زلنا كله خنبك بحدث أنا حين كل جزيء أبزربانا نبلو نقدمي تندفع سخات هايو بحدنت زي حسوم كان مراحي نهايمانة أجدفه نقول أجدفه نسبيت أجدفه نأرجت أجدفه ندسوا أجدفه زقودو فونا جرابي إسرائيل من هالبات زي تفلت زي تنجرة بزح كله خيلي أب إرتراجن زي تجبرج كان الله إنا كن أمن يبن سلازي نحنا نا كلنا أسلامنا كستاننا كاب طرف دنكل كساب طرف باركا بربعتي أكرنا عتنا إرترا بحدنت نزز سأنايو بمعرز قفعنا كنقالسو دلوات كنكون ألنا.
If I was president of Eritrea, I would prioritize the pleas of my people. I would break down prison doors and build universities. We would have libraries to document our histories and new stories, laws to ensure our liberty, systems to sustain prosperity and investments in land and legacy. If I was president, our children would have childhoods. Our tribes would teach their truths. I would dismantle this restricting idea of identity because our cultures are so many, our languages plenty. I would ensure all our faiths can coexist. Listen to my people when they resist and stand with them when they raise their fists. If I was president, I would recreate, reunite, and no Eritrean would be forced to be alone because if I was president of Eritrea, I would welcome all my people home. Hello everybody, assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for having me here today. I'm going to come back to talk a little bit about that poem later on, but before I start, I'd just like to let you know that I'm not trying to be the president of Eritrea. That's part of a campaign, and I'll talk more about that later. As it was mentioned, for those of you who don't know, my name is Minal Yunus, and I live in Adelaide. I came here with the Adelaide team. And I'm an Eritrean who moved to Australia 21 years ago. My family moved here when I was only 3 years old. And my dad raised me as very Eritrean. Even though I've spent most of my life here, and I did forget a lot of the language because of the fact that I was going to school in an area that wasn't very diverse. Our community in Adelaide was very small when I was younger, and there weren't many other kids to be speaking to that were Eritrean. And it was much later in my life that I made the choice to learn the language and to focus my native language, which is Tigrinya. But when I was growing up, I always knew who I was. I was always taught about our history. We would always go through family photos and I'd be told, this person, this is your uncle, he was a fighter. This one, this is your auntie, she died in the war. This one, they're imprisoned and we're still waiting for them to come home. I grew up with these stories. I grew up knowing that my dad was 14 years old when he left Eritrea. And it was during the time of the original struggle for liberation. And in that time he left because there were so many of my family members already affected that were killed, whether it was because of the Ethiopian regime before or because of the war that had already begun, the struggle that had begun. And so he left to support the family. At 14 years old, he left so that he could find work and share and give back to the family and support the people back home. And that story is not unique. I know that most of us here, if it wasn't you yourselves, you know family members who've done the same thing. But the people from where we're from, they're forced to grow up quickly. Young people are making adult decisions, or have been making adult decisions for so many generations now. Our youth have been forced to grow up. I grew up believing that there was a home waiting for me. And that's one of the things that empowered me and that made me strong. Because living in Australia, there's a lot of racism that I have experienced, that many of us probably have experienced. And when you're going to school and you're wondering who you are, and people are making fun of you, whether it's because of your religion or your race, or because of your background, or because you're a refugee, you have to find something that makes you strong. And for me, that was learning about my history, and knowing that no matter what people say, it is this that makes me who I am. It is this whole background that I have that makes me a whole person. And therefore, their words can't hurt me. And it was through that connection with Eritrea that I found strength. And so I believed that there was a home waiting for me. And that's what started. And that's why it was when I was a teenager that I started to really pay attention to what was happening back home. So it was at this time when I was a teenager that I really started to focus on learning Tigrinya again, trying to connect with family and with people overseas. And most of my travels so far, I've been lucky enough to go to different parts of the world. And they've mainly been to meet family members and to learn from them, to connect with community members that are in different parts of the world. And everywhere that I've traveled, I have found a welcoming community. People that are happy to know that there are Eritreans on the other side of the world who are also thinking about them and have the same ideas and want to know about back home. And the thing that broke my heart particularly in the past 2 years of travel, where one of the times I went to Europe. And I was so excited when I was in Switzerland, because everywhere I went there was Eritreans, right? I didn't have to speak English, I didn't have to speak German or French or whatever, because there was an Eritrean on every corner. So I just spoke to them in Tigrinya. They helped me find directions, I had coffee with strangers, but there were some times where I'd encounter somebody who, when I asked them how old they were, they'd tell me they're 19. They'd tell me that none of their family is with them. They tell me, when I ask them what languages they speak, they'll say, yeah, Tigrinya, Arabic, because I was in this country, French, because I was there first, Italian, because I was there. And when I really thought about what that meant, that this 19-year-old that I was speaking to had spent the past 3 years of their life in these different countries, that they'd come through Italy, I realized the journey that they had taken was that one that we always hear about. The dangerous journeys going through Libya, the journeys going through Egypt. And that's what our people are going through. And it's impossible for us to ignore that now. The same thing happens when I go to places like Cairo, Addis Ababa. They're giant waiting rooms of people, of our people. And they come from all ages. But when we think about the people who are running from the country and why they're running, particularly now, majority of the time it's youth, running from national service. And the thing is, when we talk about youth, we can't just think about youth now, right? Just like I spoke about my father, he was young when he was gaining this responsibility, when he was leaving. So everybody here was a young member of the community at one point, right? So when we talk about youth, we're talking about all of us. Maybe it's youth that are encountering it now, but every generation has their time. And therefore, we all need to relate to that, and we all need to support each other. Now, especially due to the national service, as it's been identified as one of the key reasons that people leave Eritrea, especially young people. The United Nations, according to the UN report in 2016, said that it was up to 4,000 people leaving every month. We know when we hear these stories, whether it's about the Calais jungle, these stories that make international news headlines and they're talking about refugees, when we hear about a boat that sinks in the Mediterranean, we know that that's our people. We feel it in our gut, right? We know that that might be somebody that we know, or that knows somebody that we know. We know that when we hear about trafficking in the Sinai. We know when we hear about Israel and its treatment of refugees, we know they're talking about our people. And the thing is that this regime that everybody's running away from, it has no mercy for you. It has no mercy for the fact that someone might be young and maybe they're innocent, maybe they don't even know what they've done wrong, or maybe they haven't done anything wrong. It doesn't have any regard for that. I'm going to tell you about a couple of young people that you've probably heard of. One of them is Abdul Wahab Jumi. Who's heard of Abdul Wahab Jumi? Okay, a couple of people. So he was a young man, and now he would no longer be considered young. But in 1992, his father was amongst one of the first mass arrests of Eritreans under this Hibdif regime. In that time, there was up to 1,500 people who were arrested. The reason is not known why, though there are many ideas about who was targeted. But it was civilians, it was teachers, it was people who were active in the community, it was people who were influential in the community. So among them was his father, Ibrahim Jumi. And after he left, Abdul Wahab was the oldest person, or the oldest boy in his family, the oldest male member. And therefore he started playing the male role, the father's role. And in 1994, there are variations about exactly what he said, but somebody asked him, how's life? And he said it was bad, because obviously he's struggling. Recently, shortly after that, he was also imprisoned. They came to his door at night, like how we hear many times. And so now, it's said that that person who he had spoken to, he gave an unsatisfactory answer to someone who might have been a spy, and he was imprisoned. And we know that that's how volatile the situation is in Eritrea, that people are afraid to speak, people are afraid to say anything. As it was mentioned earlier by one of our speakers, that's one of the techniques that this regime uses to silence people, right? Is to get them into national service, to make them afraid, and especially for youth. As we know, most revolutions are started with young people because of the vigor that young people have, the ability to break rules, the desire to rebel. These things where you see injustice and you don't take it. That's why our revolutions in the past were also started by young people. But they're stifling that, stifling the ability to get further education, stifling the ability to dream. And that's exactly what that campaign, the If I Was President campaign, was about. You know, as young people, or as people in general, we need to be able to imagine ourselves in positions of power. And I'm taking this from Vanessa Tahaya. Has anyone heard of Vanessa Tahaya? Yeah? An incredible young Eritrean woman who's doing a lot of work to raise awareness, especially about the incommunicado detentions. She's the founder of One Day Siyum. She participated in the same challenge that I did, where I wrote the poem saying If I Was President. And in her speech, she said that we need to be able to imagine ourselves in position of power in order for us to move forward. We need to be able to see a future. If you can't see a future, you lose hope. And that's exactly what's happening. We all need to be able to feel like we could be president if we wanted to, in order to invest in making the changes. And that's what this campaign is about. The other person I'd like to tell you about is Siham Ali Abdul. Some of you know about her? Yep. Yeah? So, Siham, for those of you who don't know, was 15 years old when she was in prison. She's the daughter of Ali Abdul, who was working for the government. And when he left, she was caught while she was trying to leave on the border. She has an American passport. And she's been detained now for the past, 7 years. So when she was 15, she just had her 22nd birthday last month in April 3rd. And Eritreans around the world collectively were saying happy birthday, running events, and the online campaign also started, where people were hashtagging happy birthday Siham, to raise awareness about her, to bring international attention to her, as just one of the many young people that are also affected by the unjust laws and the human rights abuses in Eritrea. We've seen several generations now destroyed in Eritrea, whether it was because of the war in '98, and then now because of the ongoing indefinite national service. So what kind of role can we play as young people in the diaspora? That's what I want to talk about now. We have a unique position here. We have access to free speech. We also have a freedom that those before us may not have had, whether it's because we're in a different culture, because there are different norms, or because we have access to more education, because we're not being forced to go to wars or to flee or to take care of our families. We have the privilege of living in a society where individualism is encouraged to a degree and is valued rather than shunned. We value people that speak out and that speak out when something's wrong. And you see, members of the youth community, they're not kids anymore. They're people like myself. We're adults now, and we have adult contributions to make, although we still are youth. And it needs to be recognized as being an adult contribution when we come into these places, when we have these conversations. So what are some of the things that hold our young people back? Because I think many people have mentioned so far that we don't have much youth representation. I mean, we look here today and there's a handful of people that might identify as being young. So I did have a chat to a lot of people, and most of the work that I do is with youth. And I wanted to understand some of the reasons that we don't participate more. So the first is fear. And the fear is a fear of saying or doing something wrong. The fear of being judged, the fear of being the reason for division in our communities, and the fear for our families and for the communities back home. I want to address some of these. I want to talk about first the one about the fear of being the division within the community, because that's something that I faced a lot of the time. I was really scared to speak out because, as in most cities you might experience that there are several different, or at least 2 different Eritrean communities, and you're trying to navigate them. You want to be friends with everybody because you're going to meet them at the mosque or at church or somewhere, but there's also that feeling of, if this is unjust, I can't be here, I can't support it, right? Well, what I'd like to say to that is that unity without justice is not sustainable. And therefore aspiring to have a community that's united because some people are unable to speak, because some people are afraid of being spied on, because some people are afraid of having their family back home hurt. That's not a unity that you want to preserve. There are other ways to working toward unity through justice, and that's something that we need to talk about. Because peace without justice is riddled with oppression, and it's simply a conflict waiting to happen. And all of our decisions are political. When we decide we don't want to be political, we're actually being political. We're making a political decision. And that's something we need to face. We have to address that. If we decide to stay silent, that's also a political decision. The second one is about the fear of being judged, the fear of doing something wrong. And for that one, I'd like to say that we need more compassion in our communities. When someone makes a mistake, especially young people, we need to be more understanding and to actually care for them and help them to work out how to make it better. The Yiakel movement has shown that standing together in protest is a form of unity, and that there is support for those of us who do want to speak out and who do want to contribute to the country that we come from. The second thing that holds a lot of young people back is disillusionment, or feeling like there is no difference that can be made, or that nothing can be changed. The disillusionment about our communities, because as we've seen, not just in the Eritrean community, in African communities in general, in any small community within Australia, many projects start and then they disappear. Many communities come together and then a conflict happens. It might be personal, but it breaks apart. And I think that makes a lot of young people scared to get involved in something, because is it even going to work? We're going to have too many conflicts, whether it's between old and young, whether it's between religion, whether it's between tribes. And that's something that has really turned a lot of people away. And what I have to say to that is that it's our responsibility to work out how we can change things. Not to be afraid by what's already happened and what we've seen, but to think about how we can make it better. Strive together through unity. As it was mentioned, especially in Dr. Burhan's speech, about how we need to be united and to grow together, right? We need to have that reconciliation, exactly. We need to have that reconciliation from the beginning, because the road to peace, because reconciliation and peace is not an end goal. It is the road that we walk on. And that's exactly what we need to have. And that's why this movement right here, seeing people from all different parts of the community together, is so empowering, because this is what we need. It's not about pretending that we don't have differences. That's not what we want. We don't want to make everybody exactly the same. What we need is to let everybody identify exactly how they want, and to allow for that, to accept that, and to move forward. And so that's what I say when it comes to that fear. So this gathering here today has been made up of weeks of conversations that I've been privileged to sit in, and to see that exact kind of unity, that democracy that we want to see in the country, that was used when bringing everybody together for this meeting. And that's something that we're going to be taking back to all of the young people who couldn't be here today. So this is all I have to say. And the main thing is that have faith in the youth, because we're there, and it is our time, and our generation will speak up. And there are more of us, so many of us. And it's just about finding each other and finding the strength, and knowing that we have everybody here behind us who's going to support us, and that's where our power comes from.
أتبع الأول تملالس عدي مربع أسرعك بتشفن حكي درام حبيلا صبوق الله هزبي دبلك تزارب نحسد شكادي أتبع الأول تملالس عدي مربع أسرعك بتشفن حكي هجر محبيلايا صبوق الله هزبي دبلك تزارب شكادي بجزاوي ربحة حلنا بعزيزك ملكة الدم بجزاي إداوك جبنك خي أكل عقب زي مبالكة حلف حقيراوي تكون الليوانا تكون الليوانا تكون الليوانا حلف حقيراوي تكون الليوانا تكون الليوانا تحزنني دنقت الكا زي مفلات من مخانكا تحزنني دنقت الكي زي مفلات من مخانكي من مخانكي مخانكي زي مفلاتكي دقي خندا ماركة حصاءتي غرطم بزي كورنتها بنزا قلبتي هجر كهانزلكا رأي مسائي كمي زين تايكا 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 صغني عشنت قالكا نبايت تقومت نفسي غادريكا مقالح ملاقي كدقم لسانكا هريم كاتبلني فصم كي حابركا كابتزس حضنوي عشنت قالكا نبايت تقومت نفسي غادريكا مقالح ملاقي دقم لسانكا هديم كاتبلني بتمكي حافركا بتمكي حافركا بتمكي حافركا
نبل كلنا من سلامنا يأكل نبل كلنا نحكن قوامنا كلنا يأكل نبل كلنا ونعب يتننا كلنا يأكل نبل كلنا نزيد وهدتننا كلنا يأكل نبل كلنا غرعتننا زقرم زقرم نا نا نا
اسمع امين alright መቼም ሎማ ዓንቲ ብዝከኣለና ياكل نملكي ياكل نديكتاتورياو سرعات امبي نملكي امبي نمدمار مجمريا كلنا دخلنا نقولينا جن دخلنا خيصلنا خا تتكبر زلو جبنا كنكيد ابت زنبره ناي راوند تيبل ديسكشن تزبزح دمس باللي عاوسينا لنا كابتي زتواهبه تزبزح وسينا لنا مبزحته ثلاثه بشديش دارجا دخل يزمسل تي عود سو هذا الفرقي زياده سلازخله تلع الفرق زخله وسينا لنا ابقى يقع ثلاثه حساب المسل حدا حد يحس حدا خطه حدا شديش سلازخله ويقال له حمشته ثلاثه غلطه وقاموا تزبزح وسينا لنا After Adamit is never shall we establish task force for achieving the objectives. Nazia it is Bazhe, where Yeliana Ilum. Al-80, how to establish this task force team nomination. Nati already Hijjam Miruzallo, Nusu Awallo Yatzel, then Ziada Natom Kuwatskom de Kaloha, Hagaz Yigber. Outside, how to embrace those states yet to nominate planning the law, contact friends and family. Abzillana Haji, Betasarnan lo Melbourne, Betasarnan lo Canberra, Betasarnan lo Sydney. Abzil Yiakel Canberra Kalagan, Samasi Akhlo Nabur, Nabba Yiakel Bel Hijilna Sahayo. Tamzilom to Akibom Ilom Musana Hab, Western Australia. Tamzilom to Akibom Ilom Hab, Kulu State Cap Perth, Brisbane, Adelaide. Sydney, Canberra, كان كله كان ملبورن تأكيبهم على نزوم تأكيبهم زلوسي اسكبرهم تزارعهم مسؤومه أرجلنا نمسحنا نسس سدرانا يعرفتنا مسارحتنا نزلبرو نمسح يومه let's push together وحنسا خنسكم متان رديت مزيلو بترابعي mandate after mandate it is بزحة نسلس توعي توعي بلو mandate كأنتاي يكون زبل كلهم إريتراويان أو أستراليا زلوا مجمريا بستيتو كتحاببرهم نعم حدنا كم سؤال كسر ومن سركا لوكالي بإنترستيت كويو عبنا أستراليا كراخب كفتن كم أون بعالم درجة يأكل يلونزك أسا أصدر معبل مسؤول تحابيرو كسرح كم زخ المقبار بزيادة جن نتوم زي بتصحنا يوم كقوموا زي كعلو زلوا تاسك فورس نعم كن بصحهم نفتن زبل نيرو تحم شيتي تيليكونفرنس أبكن دي يدل زبل كم ستيتو كم زدليو يقبل ثم organizing committee خا كم تستعمو نسوم as required يوصلوا إلى مالو أتي شالشاي. Yeah, how to bring the young generation and women into the forefront. زبل حساب الله نزغا انتو حدا حنتي قالن ستيتي أبننا بسوكف ناي ستيت زغوون ناي تاسك فورس كتهلو اللوع من إسايون كهلو اللوع سلازي من إساي نتوم من إسايات بسحهم تملك أنستيوغا أبننا حدا كباز أزحا كخلامتان قدن مسانا زي تأكبا عينبل نايب علن work force عاديين كمان نحر represent الجبران حدا سب كل كادخ لا قينا كم أنت جبراون ندك فنن نتابع عينن سعرن كعا أبجمة عتينا سامع انزرق بالو حوات زرق بالو مسانا إدني قينا نسر حلو نجر فترة نحق الزنن ندك فنن يبل yeah they are encourage and accommodate the whole family هو نزل نقبل كعزومار زلنا حجي سدرا لونا نسدرانا وكيلنا مزينا لنا أبتنا استيتنا خوون كله جن سدرانا حزنا للرخل لكن كمان تنقبل لنا سيفلتو مهنياتو نصوم نحر نزهاجر كركبوا قينام سي نتاي نقبل لنا سرق الكيلانان لكن نحر ديفتوا قينام نبعلو عشقار سلزقون سلزي بسدرا ندات عكبنا نقرأ بالرخبنا فتيرنا نخيتنا تسامعنا لنا حتى شعبيتي تلوجيستكس مو من يشفنا نزبل حتو كلنا ما حنسأل من سالة ها نحنا عمل سازيا نحنا بعدنا مخنيات وراي ناس لزوانه هراي تاشامنيتي كونفرنس يدينا دو تاسك فورس زي يقوم مسوده زبلالو زي اخا هو يدينا إلنا لنا تزبزح بعد يوز نبرة قرب إذا حبي نزمل سزيه بقوله يعني اللي يسنيكم سلا سمعكم نحاول نعبر الرجع
طيب أنهت اللجان أو حلقات النقاش نقاشاتها. الملخص النقاشات هو تلخيص لرأي الأغلبية في كل لجنة، وغالب اللجان كان 6 إلى 3 وبالتالي كانت أغلبية كبيرة. ما تم الاتفاق عليه أو على آراء الأغلبية بالنسبة للسؤال الأول هل نحتاج إلى تاسك فورس؟ الإجابة كانت تقريبا نعم نحتاج إلى تاسك فورس مع إعطاء خصوصية لمنطقة ملبورن للملابسات اللي فيها تحتاج إلى عمل أكبر في المنطقة. بالنسبة للتاسك فورس وتعيينها الأغلبية رأت أن اللجنة الموجودة الآن تستمر ويتم تدعيمها وإضافة بعض الأفراد لها في المناطق التي يعني ما فيها تمثيل حتى الآن. بالنسبة للتعبئة وإبلاغ الناس بما حدث وأيضا حشد الناس حول هذه الفكرة، رأت اللجنة أن يبدأ العمل من داخل الأسرة، من داخل الروابط الاجتماعية، من داخل الصداقات الشخصية، من داخل التواصل الاجتماعي، وبعد ذلك تتسع دائرة أو يتسع النطاق. بالنسبة للتوقيت أو المانديت بتاع اللجنة رأت آراء الأغلبية أنه 3 أشهر كفاية لهذه المهمة. بالنسبة للطريقة رأت أنه العمل يكون على مستوى الولايات أولاً، الناس تقيم لجان على مستوى الولايات ثم يتم التصعيد إلى على مستوى أستراليا ثم بعد ذلك يمكن أن يتطور ذلك على مستوى العالم. أيضاً تم الاتفاق أنه إعطاء أولوية من خلال التعبئة، من خلال المساعدة، من خلال الدعم المناطق التي لا يوجد فيها أو الولايات التي لا توجد فيها لجان أو لا يوجد فيها حراك حتى الآن. بالنسبة لاستيعاب الشباب والمرأة رأى الأغلبية أنه في كل لجنة منطقة على الأقل يجب أن يكون هنالك واحدة من النساء أو واحد من الشباب أو الشابات في داخل اللجنة حتى يستطيع أن يتواصل مع القطاعات التي لم تشارك فعالية وهي النساء والشباب. بالنسبة للدعم المالي وتمويل اللجنة وتمويل العمل تقريبا كان شبه إجماع أنه يجب أن نعتمد على إمكاناتنا الذاتية. بالنسبة للحاجة إلى مؤتمر جامع على مستوى أستراليا إذا أنهت اللجنة المكلفة أو التاسك فورس عملها، الأغلبية رأت أنه نعم نحتاج إلى مؤتمر جامع بعد أن تنهي كافة اللجان في الولايات وتنهي اللجنة المركزية أيضا عملها في ختام عملها. تقريبا هذا ملخص ما تم التوافق عليه من أغلبية الحضور لهذه الليلة. شكرا جزيلا.
ودبن من قاسن محبرا متينا كون نخلينا خبز تفلالي حساسبان امنتن عليتن بحربايتن او راجعن متينا كون نخلينا جن انا نحوي نبل انا نحوي كبزا ساعات زيا يقرا الى له انا نرسي يقريتا تقبل له انا نحوي انا نحفتي يفكري أنا نودي يفكري أنا نبوي يفكري أنا نحواتي يفكري أنا ندي يفكري أنا نقالي يفكري أب حجي بسنيت بفقري بحادنت بنكاسغس وسينا له يغني له